Hey, I'm Mike from the Comic Bug. You're watching Comics on Comics. Healthier for your computer than porn and YouTube.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Vito Lapicola with Comics on Comics. We're here at the Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach, California for a Mike Mignola, Josh Dysart double signing. Let's go check it out.
You guys know what's going on tonight? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, I'll get out of your way and let things happen. What's that? Society, Ready? 1, 2, 3!
What made you go, hey, I'm finally going to show the origin of this group, now? What made you choose 1946?
That's a really good question. I don't remember. I think that the increasing success of the B.P.R.D. book mostly because of John Arcudi, I think. He's just done a phenomenal job with that book. It's becoming more and more militaristic, and we've got this whole storyline with these frog things, which keeps, is continuing, and I just thought the early B.P.R.D. would have been much more old school supernatural stuff. We'd be dealing with the fallout of World War II, we'd be dealing with like the Cold War Russian stuff, and just old-fashioned stuff like going into a cellar and driving a stake through a vampire's heart. At this point, the regular B.P.R.D. book isn't that kind of book anymore. So I think it was the desire to do a much more primitive version of that group. And secretly, I really want to get into the 50s where I assume they're wearing jumpsuits.
As far as B.P.R.D. in 1946 goes, you guys are going to be, chronicling the adventures of a young Professor Broom. And I wanted to know, are you guys going to present a different side to him than we've seen? Is he going to be a little more dashing, more of an Indiana Jones type, or is he still kind of more cerebral?
Oh, no, he's definitely still more cerebral. I mean, he is a capable hero, don't get me wrong, more than a capable hero. But what I really like about him is he's a very literate, astute individual. And one thing I hope to portray as we explore Broom more in a way that the rest of the series hasn't had an opportunity to, is a man who can leap to the appropriate response in the most stressful of times, virtually effortlessly, particularly when it comes to the occult. And one of the things that we're going to do with this storyline is move the B.P.R.D. from being basically these two men who you see in the beginning of this book, Dr. Eaton, who's a little bit older, and Broom himself, from being the core of B.P.R.D. to turning B.P.R.D. into what is essentially the militarized institution we see John Arcudi and Guy Davis doing in the regular book. And this is the story of how that happens, and how an intellectual like Broom comes to appreciate the pragmatism of having a gun, as it were.
Sorry, how are you? Nice to meet you. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pictures are
Nice to draw.
It's early stuff, yeah. That was one of my favorite covers that I picked up when the Hulk was there.
Ballpoint is my favorite thing on earth to draw with, is a ballpoint pen.
Oh, really? Okay.
What kind of people are the beginning B.P.R.D. guys? I mean, is it all human, or?
Yeah, right now, and I'm not going to tell you anything except what's in the first issue, but yeah, right now it's all human beings. I mean, it's basically these two, a doctor and a professor, and in a very poorly funded institution that currently has the title Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, and a handful of soldiers, approximately 5 soldiers who have been assigned them in Berlin. So, I mean, it's a pretty unambitious organization. I mean, what Mike and I would really like to convey is how the American government wasn't taking this seriously. And as we see in the first issue, the Russians are, And since this is all really a metaphor for the Cold War, we're dropping that immediately. The Russians, just as the Cold War immediately begun after World War II, so too do we immediately jump into this, this conflict between the Russians and the Americans.
Are we going to be seeing a little Hellboy in there? Is he going to be running around? Or?
Yeah, there's a little... that is true in all senses of the word. There's a little Hellboy in there. Yeah, there's very little of him, and he's a very little Hellboy. Yeah.
If you're ever out in Manhattan Beach, guys, check out the Comic Bug here. It's awesome. They got everything you need. This is Vito Lapicola for Comics on Comics. Peace.